Hey guys, Wednesday, Halloween. Hanging out at the shop. Another dismal, dreary, rainy, shitty, all around not so good to work in day. For working outside, that is. Got a lot of water. And a little too moist to be working outside. I'll show you what I'm going to work on today. We're going to work on the Super Duty here. Front axle hubs, the lockouts. I have an axle shaft snap ring kit, and I have a outer thrust washer set, and I'll show you what those look like as far as the thrust washers. Sorry about the shaky cam. Okay, basically what we got is two washers, and this hex goes in the middle. So it'll look like, kind of like that. Obviously not offset, but that's just to show you guys how that goes in. And then the snap rings are because the snap rings have been on and off of my hubs so many times. I figured I'll just replace them, and they'll put the old ones in that bag for a spare just in case I lose one. Basically, got to remove the front tires, and the one side I need to pull the hub out, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this. The guy that had the truck before me must have lost one of those thrust washers. And let's see if I put the stuff in here, in with the tools. I had some stuff in here. And there's one thrust washer. Okay. Basically, I was out a thrust washer. And what they had done, and I'll show you when I get one tore apart, they had taken the fiber disc or plastic disc, whatever you want to call it, that actuates the automatic hubs when this truck had them. These are aftermarket super winch hubs, and they're not automatic, they're just straight up manual hubs. They used one of those plastic vacuum discs as a thrust washer. So I had to leave this one out. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the snap ring back on the one, because I'd never had a set of these hubs apart that had automatic option to them. My dump truck does not. It's straight up manual. So they had tried to stuff this in there and the fiber disc all on the lockout side, which is not right. And like I say, I'll show you in a minute when I get this ripped apart why that doesn't work. That disc is actually supposed to be on the stub axle side, right behind inside of the knuckle seal on that shaft. So I'm going to get this tore apart, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So basically, we got to jack it up, tear the wheels off, and pull the caliper brackets off, hang the calipers, unplug the ABS sensor, yada yada yada. So I'll catch up with you in a minute. Okay, wheels off. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check. One of these sides is put back together correctly, and I think it's this one. So I'm just going to double check this one and make sure that that giant vacuum disc is not on the outside on this one. If it isn't, then we can probably throw this one right back together. So you need a, I forget what size this is. It's Torx, it's small. I want to say it's probably a 15 or 20. The super winch hubs have a tapered screw in it that sort of wedges down in that aluminum. It's a countersunk. You want to be careful not to over tighten these, because if you do, they are a bitch to get back out. In fact, I just ordered 2 screw sets online to change the screws, because the screw heads on these were pretty chewed up the last time I took them out, and the other side's actually missing a screw. So we're going to take this hub assembly out. It is in the free position. And I guess the moral of the story with tightening these is tight enough to not let a bunch of water in. There's no gasket on these hubs, which I don't know if that's because it's missing or if that's because they don't have one. and it's just a metal fit. I've got them packed with some grease, so. Tearing these hubs apart scares some people. It used to scare me until I saw they come apart, and there's truly nothing to them. Oop. Unless you drop one. Okay, so basically you have the hub lockout section, then you have this ring inside here, which I may need to get a pair of channel locks to grab that because it's greasy and grimy. There's nothing that's holding that in there. It's just a little tight. Or greasy, excuse me, it's not tight. You just give it a little wiggle. Oh, actually, hold on to that thought. I'm missing a step here. There's actually, let's see the edge of my pick there? There's a snap ring. That snap ring has to come out first, and then that assembly will come out. My bad. Get you guys focused up here. Sometimes I use a flat screwdriver, sometimes a pick works. We'll see what's going to work today. I'm going to go get a flat screwdriver before I gouge myself with a pick. Alright, let's give this a whirl. Okay, snap ring. Now, this assembly will come out. And we'll set that right back on top of the, set it right back on top of there. So that's a unit. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got these together ass backwards. Okay, that snap ring in there has to come out, and then the thrust washer stack, and that fiber disc, which is on the wrong side. So we're going to pop all that out. Let's see what we got here. Snap ring's usually not too terrible, but it's a greasy mess, so sometimes makes it a pain in the ass. Ugh, those poor snap ring pliers are about junk. Let's try the bigger ones. I don't remember if those fit that snap ring or not. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's try those. Oh, bastard, come on. Okay, snap ring off. Then we use the pick and we'll take out the stack. Okay, there's a thrust washer, there's the hex washer. There's supposed to be another thrust washer behind this. There is not, because it is assembled improperly. This is why I'm wearing rubber gloves. This stuff is nasty. This disc actually goes on the back side of this hub. So this hub actually has to come off, and this goes out over the axle shaft facing that way. So, in order to do so, we're going to pull the caliper bracket off. which I don't think I need to show everybody how to do that, but I will give a quick rundown on that. We are going to, looking over the top here, you're going to take that bolt out and the one directly below it that bolt the bracket to the knuckle. So I believe those are 13/16 or 22 millimeters, something like that. We'll buzz that out. One thing to keep in mind when you go to turn the wheel on these vehicles, start the truck. On the Fords, or they'll puke power steering fluid out of the reservoir. The other thing that needs to be done is the ABS sensor needs to be, I don't know if we can even get that. There's a bolt that holds a little clamp there, and we'll pop it out of these, and then the plug is right over here around the corner. We'll unplug that. If you guys watch my ABS sensor video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get that torn down, and then I'll come back and show you guys what's happening. Okay, now caliper bracket's off, ABS sensor is unhooked. I don't know if we can see back in here, but it's easier to see from the front side. You have these studs that come through. There's nuts, 21 millimeter, 13/16, whatever, on the back. You got to turn the wheel one way to get them lock to lock for one set of them, and then flip it the other way to get the other two, because the old U-joints get in your way. Okay, now this is all unbolted, and we are going to try and separate that without a puller. I've had this thing off twice already this year. Once to put U-joints and axle seals in it, and then my knuckle seals came later, so then I changed the knuckle seals. So let's make sure that's zoomed out. Okay, this may or may not pull right out. Maybe a little gentle persuasion here. Don't take much. Okay, we're going to take this thing out. I'm going to set it upside down right here. Okay. Now we can see inside there. Well, kiddies, all I'm doing is tearing it apart to move something to its righteous location. That washer goes right there. So I'm going to clean that up, and I'm going to put that back together. Actually, I'm going to clean all this shit up, wipe it off, and reassemble it. So I'll kick you back on when I'm putting it back together. Alrighty. Alright, we're going to reassemble this thing here. Let's see if I can get you guys set up where we can both see. But not like that. Okay, so I've already stuck this disc in here for the vacuum actuated hubs. It's cleaned off. The side with the notches, I believe, faces back from all the pictures I can see in my manual. Doesn't exactly tell me. Now we're going to slide the hub back in and torque those bolts. And I'll give you a torque spec on that as soon as I look it up, because I looked it up last time and I forgot what the hell it was. O-ring looks good. I changed those O-rings on the hub last time. It's greasy. I might put a little spare grease on that just for the hell of it. A little grease is good. Sometimes more grease is better. grease over that flange too, just to keep it from rusting. The backing plate touches it, and the backing plate's crusty as hell, but it's still in one piece, so we're going to keep using it. Dust shield, whatever you want to call it. Okay. That's in, and basically what I'll do is I'll turn the wheel lock to lock to put the nuts back on the back and get those torqued down. I'm going to look up that torque spec in a second, see if I can't at least get them started. They're definitely in a tight spot. And I'm not left-handed, which doesn't help. There we go. I want to say it's like 139 foot-pounds or something ridiculous. I know most guys will probably just tighten those with the impact, and I think that's what I'm going to do today. I've never had one come loose. We just max out the old impact there. I've got a Blue Point 1/2 inch impact. It gives me pretty good torque. Alright, I'm going to end up blocking the camera here, but I'm not going to move it right this second. I'm just getting those nuts started on the back so I can get them torqued up. Because once I get those nuts torqued up, then I can start the reassembly process of the lockout mechanism for the hub. I got the rubber gloves on, and I want to turn the camera off, but I can't because my hands are covered in grease. Okay. So, we're ready to go there. We're going to turn these wheels, and I'll get those torqued up on the back. Stand by. Okay, guys, we're back. The torque spec says 133 foot-pounds. A little discrepancy on that. I just looked up online, used Google. Chilton says 55 foot-pounds, which there is no way that's enough. 133 sounds a little excessive, but there was actually a page from the Ford Workshop Manual in there that says 133. So we're going to go with that. First thing I'm going to do is tighten them with the impact, and then check them with the old torque wrench. That one doesn't feel like it's going on straight, so we're going to try. Just turning it with an extension with a little leverage here. Oh, that's on there. Okay. Got these, I don't know if you can see that wobble extension. That's a pretty sweet setup. I also have a wobble socket too. I'm not sure how I feel about the wobble sockets. They've got like a little spring around here, and something tells me you get too sick with them, and you're going to have an exploded spring. So we're just going to watch our face here. Let's see if I can even get to this other one. Probably not, being locked to lock like that. Yeah, we'll tighten these two up and then start it and go to the other side. This is the pain in the ass of the process here, because you got to keep getting up. Regular socket. You got to keep getting up to start the truck and spin the damn wheels. Just do that. Figure out where the hell the nut is. Did I put it on? Okay. this one up. Get the socket stuck. Oh yeah, this is the fun stuff. Oh hey, that's probably gonna stick it even tighter. There we go. Okay. I'll spin that wheel the other way. We'll tighten the other two up. And we'll get to the good stuff. Finally got smart and put my big wall of lights up here. Built the thing and I always forget I have it. Doesn't give you any light over here, but working in some confined space here. I've yet to find an easy way to do this. Now we'll check and see what those are telling me with the, oh geez, I can't remember anything with the torque wrench. Put the torque wrench on. Okay, stick the torque wrench in the picture here. It's a Harbor Freight. One thing you want to make sure is that you always keep that nut loose when you're storing it and all the pressure's backed off. We're going to set this baby to 133. This torque wrench only goes to 150. This is a Harbor Freight torque wrench, so it's not exactly super precise, but it'll let us know that we're close. Oh, and the one thing I hate doing is putting an extension on a torque wrench. That's a no-no. He'll give you a false reading every time, but I'm looking for close. Oh, they're tight. I need a budget. So we'll go with that. Make sure those are on there good. Find my socket. And we'll start assembling the hub itself. And I'll go double check those ones on the other side momentarily. to assemble the thrust washer stack and get this put back together. See if I can find a good place to get you guys in the picture here. Okay. We need to put one of these thrust washers on, then a hex washer, and then the other thrust washer on top of that before we assemble the hub. So I have to go get another thrust washer and get my clips. I don't know that you're supposed to grease these, but I'll probably put a little teeny smear of grease on them just to be safe. There's my new clips. Put an old clip back in that bag. Here we go. I get a little smear of grease here, or just go get the grease on. All right. One. Hex washer. And the other steel thrust. Wipe all the shit off my hands so I can actually pick something up. Okay. Then the snap ring. Pain in the ass snap ring. Of course I had coffee this morning, so I'm shaking. I can't hold anything still. Okay, we'll set that on there. Sure, thrust washers where they need to be. Slide this snap ring in the rest of the way. And sometimes I need to take, let's see, do I have my flat screwdriver I need? We'll try this little one, see if this works. Make sure that that locks into its spot. And it did, it just jumped right in. And we'll know that if I can spin it just a little bit. Take a peek at it. Looks like we be jamming. The other thing you can do is pry the axle shaft toward you a little bit. That baby's in. Okay. Then we will put the lockout back in. Sometimes it takes a little wiggling. There we go. That's in. Then this snap ring that holds that whole thing in there. Double check that went down in its home. looks copacetic. Then we'll put the lockout back on. It's got these two pins on it, and I'm not sure what exactly they line up with. You just got to kind of monkey with getting it in between one of the grooves there. That's pretty much all there is to it, and we'll start our screws. Now, even though I don't have the vacuum style lockouts on this, I wanted to put it back the way it's supposed to be. It hasn't given me any trouble being put together that way, but snow plowing season's coming up, and I'd rather tear this apart while it's not cold and covered in ice, because it just makes it a little bit easier. Another thing I got to do is a little bit of body work on this truck here in the next month, and oil spray the underside of it again. You can see it's due. I sprayed it over the summer, but I like to spray when I can. I like to spray the trucks twice a year. So tighten these up, and you don't have to get crazy with them or you'll never get them back out. So I hope everybody is above water at this point. We only had to pump a little bit of water yesterday just because the power went out and the sump pump quit working for Mom's house. If you guys saw that video. After I get these tightened down, we're going to check the lockout to make sure it works properly. Which there's really not a lot to it, so it should work properly. Turn it to the lock position, spin it, and it is in fact spinning the axle. Unlock it, and it spins free. So we are good to go. Lock it again real quick. Give myself a little friction to tighten these down against. And that's basically the gist of that. We'll rehang the caliper, throw the rotor back on it, plug the ABS sensor back in, and she'll be all good to go. And then I'll jump over to the other side, which I'm not going to video because it is the exact same as this side. So hope you guys gained something from that, and we'll catch you on the next one.